Back in studio, Ryan Wilson, Emery Hunt, Joe Musso, here to explore some of maybe what we saw this season, not in this 60 minutes, from Washington and Dallas as well. First, let's go on the team that's playing on, and that's Washington, who's completely flipped the script behind this star quarterback that they have in the rookie in Jaden Daniels. This is a team that's going to be a 6 seed, a 12-win team, Ryan, from where they were to where they are now. You got to give so much of that credit to the quarterback, but how do you spread it out here? Because it is a team accomplishment this season for Washington.
Yeah, to the quarterback, to the head coach Dan Quinn, to the general manager Adam Peters, to the owner Josh Harris, because they have turned this thing around in record time,
quickly.
Right?
Yep.
Jaden Daniels is a grand slam, and we talked about the quarterback situation, hit or miss, but they hit a home run with Brandon Coleman, their third-round pick, who we thought might play guard at some point when he was drafted at TCU, put him in left tackle. Luke McCaffrey's been helpful in the return game and is a number 3 receiver. Mikey Sanders, still the nickelback out of Michigan, who is an absolute baller, former wide receiver, has made plays there. So taken all together, and Johnny Newton, by the way, who had a foot injury coming out, the defensive tackle out of Illinois. So taken all together, and the culture change. We talked about this earlier with your Bears. Culture is a huge part of getting the most out of these players, whether they're in high school or whether they're 25, 30 years old, and that's exactly what's happened. And once the winning starts happening and the momentum starts building, and you saw with Jaden Daniels as he was on the bench for the last 3 quarters watching Marcus Mariota, this team is dangerous. Now, 12 wins, we'll see what happens. Everyone in the playoffs is going to be a good team to face. But they have to feel really good with where they are. And by the way, redemption story for Cliff Kingsbury, the OC, because the book on him was great in the first half of the season, and then everything falls apart. Well, the Cardinals still stunk without him second half of the season. So there's a lot of praise to go around, but I think it starts with the front office, head coaching staff, and, of course, Jaden Daniels.
Linear leadership. The last time I saw something like this was in 2006 with the New Orleans Saints. You bring in Sean Payton. What he does, he goes out and signs Drew Brees. They draft Reggie Bush. Undrafted free agent, they bring in Marcus Coulson. Free agent signing, unheralded, they bring in Joe Horn. All of those guys led that Saints team to the postseason in Sean Payton's first year, and we know the run he had in New Orleans. So when you have linear leadership from GM, owner, coach, scouts, you have success like this. And so we saw that this year in Washington. So I'm excited to see what they do, not only for in the postseason, but to build on this moving forward.
We got more highlights to get to at the top of the hour. Before that, one-word answer. Has Mike McCarthy coached his last game of the Dallas Cowboys?
Nope.
No.
No. We got more HQ coming next, and a thought there. Back up on CBS Sports HQ as we get into some, would it be January madness? Emery Hunt here to give you his entire playoff bracket from kick to confetti. Starting with the AFC and Chiefs on the bye. We'll get the Broncos and the Bills, the Steelers and the Ravens, the Chargers and the Texans. Let's start with Broncos and Bills coming at you, you know where, CBS. Who wins and why?
Broncos. This is the upset of the week because I feel like the Broncos are playing great ball right now. The dual threat QB gives you a chance, and that defense, I feel like, matches up rather well against this Bills offense. This will be shocking to a lot, but the Broncos are coming in red hot to face Buffalo.
An upset out of the gates. Be still my heart. I must cool myself, but we got work to do here. Let's get to this next matchup, Steelers-Ravens. An upset there as well?
Yeah, have not. The Ravens have a lot of firepower. The Steelers do not. And the Ravens got over that bugaboo of beating the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we've seen Justin Tucker play his best since missing that kick. Even though the Steelers have a great kicker themselves, I like the Ravens' momentum coming into this matchup. They move on.
The Ravens, a 3 seed, would love if a 2 seed could fall the way you have it in your bracket, picking an upset there right off the top. We also have the Chargers and the Texans in this wild card round. Who wins and why?
I love the discipline. I love the balance of the Chargers. I do like how they're playing. Offense, defense, and their special teams are up there, probably tops in the NFL. So a clean game, disciplined game. I like that team to go on and move on.
All right, so we got you out of the wild card in the AFC. Not you, Buffalo. But we are going to take a look now at the wild card in the NFC to see where those matchups stand. Again, Lions on ice, Packers, Eagles, Commanders, Bucks, Vikings, Rams is how we're going to get it. And we're going to start with that matchup of the Eagles and the Packers, Emery Hunt. This is a Packers team that spoiled the season a year ago against Dallas. Could you see a similar fate in this one?
No. I like the Eagles to move on. The healthier team coming in, the better team coming in. They're playing great on defense. That was a question coming into the season. And that offense has one of the best backs, a 2,000-yard rusher, and Saquon Barkley. And you get a healthy Jalen Hurts along with the receiving core that they all are now happy that their passing game is clicking. This offense is playing lights out. They'll knock out the Packers.
Speaking of clicking, it took about a half of a game for Tampa Bay to start clicking on Sunday and find themselves a divisional champion. They also get the help, so not just a 4 seed sneaking in to the right side of that divisional line, but all the way up to 3. That means they get the Commanders. Where do you put the value in this one?
You know what's interesting when you think about it? It's the fact that Tampa is playing really good defense. You know, they're doing a great job, and they're doing what they're supposed to do. The run game of Tampa is why I like them to move on. I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to continue to play positive football with their balance. Their commitment to the run game is why I like them to move on.
4 of our 6 wild card matchups here are rematches from something we saw earlier in the season. All 3 in the NFC and 1 in the AFC, that being Steelers and Ravens. Let's get to this last NFC pick in the wild card, Rams and Vikings. Where are you going?
Nothing like a good slap in the face before you walk into the postseason. So I think the slap in the face from the Detroit Lions to the Minnesota Vikings will help them recalibrate, get back on the right track, and look like the 14-2 team we saw them going into that last game in Week 18. So I like the Vikings to really right the ship, get their revenge against the Rams, and move on.
I can't wait to see the comments here as we go back to the AFC in the divisional round, where we will not see Josh Allen, who lost in the first round to the Broncos. That means lowest remaining seed, Broncos, going to get that 1 seed. Broncos-Chiefs. Where do your eyes go?
Petty reigns supreme, right? Oh, we beat the Chiefs. We knocked them out. We blew them out, shut them out. The Chiefs was like, yeah, we played our twos, get those guys some work. This is the real challenge now, and I think the Chiefs will remember what just took place at the Mile High City, and it was like, you know what? Let's show these young Bucks that they still have a little bit more ways to go. I like the Chiefs to get this win.
Yeah, come over here to the Red Kingdom and see what you got to say in KC. That also implies that we will get the Chargers and the Ravens in the divisional round. Who wins and why?
Harbaugh Bowl 2. I love the balance. I love the point of attack for both teams. I still think this will come down to Lamar Jackson versus Justin Herbert, who has played really well. Their receivers have done really well the back end of the season. This will be a tighter game than we saw out in L.A. Now it's in Baltimore. Now it's colder. Now you're going to expect those receivers to make consistent plays against an aggressive defense that's playing exceptionally well. I like the Ravens.
Broncos-Chiefs, not your only rematch of something we saw in Week 18. That would also mean we have Vikings-Lions on the NFC side in the divisional round. Any reason to believe we just don't get the same tape we saw shortly ago?
Well, we saw the slap heard around the world. Now, so now you got to go back into a hostile situation and say, you know what, man, let's make this right again. We understand where we messed up against the Lions. Red zone offense. Let's kick those field goals. Let's catch those interception opportunities. Let's make the plays that are there to be made. The Vikings get the win.
Buccaneers and Eagles will be our final divisional round. In the eyes of Emery Hunt, who moves on?
Eagles. I love their defense against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been outstanding, but they also have been inconsistent. We don't know which Tampa Bay team will show up. They tend to play with their food. They let teams hang around. This team in Philadelphia will put this team away early and move on to the championship game.
Championship Sunday is where our focus now goes. 4 teams remain: the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Vikings, the Eagles, starting in the AFC on CBS. I mean, sign me up for this matchup twice. Ravens, Chiefs. Can Lamar finally get over the hump and be on that short list of names that finally beats Patrick Mahomes in playoff play?
Isaiah Likely's toe will be in bounds this time, right? So that's what the separation was. And I just feel like Lamar, even though he presses about the situation, about these games like we saw last year in the AFC Championship game, they didn't run the football. Lamar felt like he was pressing. He didn't take off and run. All of that will be out the window. They will do what it takes to get the win and move on to New Orleans.
A fresh face in the AFC representing the conference. In the eyes of Emery Hunt, who will they play between the Vikings and the Eagles?
Philadelphia. Defense reigns supreme. That's been the biggest story this season for Philadelphia. We know what they do offensively, and the Eagles will fly down to New Orleans and do a great job in representing the NFC in a Super Bowl.
The brass knuckle bowl between 2 physical teams, or at least in brand. The Ravens and the Eagles, a bird battle. Who is your Super Bowl champion?
These teams are separated by like 40 miles, depending on how fast you drive down 95. I've done that a bunch of times, but this is a very close game between 2 teams that are very similar, talking about the quarterback play, how they accentuate the run game. Eagles have better receivers. The defense, I could probably lean either way depending on which way the wind blows, but the wind does blow straight down Main Street for the field goal kicker, Justin Tucker. It will come down to a field goal. I like Lamar Jackson and his Baltimore Ravens to get his first Super Bowl.
And that is from Louisiana's own Emery Hunt here, giving you an end scene in New Orleans. With the Ravens, a Super Bowl champion at long last. Give the MVP to whoever you want. Lamar's coming for that thing. And Emery Hunt says this season, he gets it done. Emery Hunt's Super Bowl prediction, the Baltimore Ravens.